Moving back to southwest London in 1948, we moved into a quite small terraced house in 9 Elliot Road, Thornton Heath. And we rented just the upstairs, and another family lived downstairs. So you can imagine it was pretty cramped. But it didn't bother us. We were out most of the time, and David and I played all the time together. Don't know what the other kids were doing, but we were out playing. Elliot Road was a quiet back road, so it was quite safe to play along the road, and we had a few friends along the road, but mostly played with a couple of the boys, Freddie Simmons and Brian Gill. And locally there were places to go, all on our own, totally self-reliant. There was a small, quite formal park called Trumbull Gardens, but it had a play area, so we could pop in there sometimes, but mostly we'd go to Thornton Heath Rec, the recreation ground, where there was a large field as well as a play area, swings and roundabouts. And there was also a bomb shelter there, which was quite exciting, appealed to our sense of adventure. There was like a manhole cover, which we discovered if you take it off and slide down, it went into like a large room, small hall type area with a long table and chairs. So we could go in there and play war maps, etc. and just take in the sense of safety and escape down there. And just about managed to climb out again. And on the large field there was football to be played, but on one occasion all three brothers decided to play football, David, Bob and Peter, and I was there as well. Peter, being the eldest, was expected to look after me, but they didn't want some little kid girl playing with them. So in due course I was getting bored and just wandered off and found myself well on the way to Streatham. Luckily there was a policeman coming along on his bike coming back to Norbury station, and he beckoned me towards him, took me to the station, where I remained until Peter was sent to collect me. He was responsible for me, he had to put the matter right. And he brought his bike, plonked me on the bike, very cross indeed, really grumpy, but he got me home. And then we quite often went to Mitcham Common, quite a way away, but we didn't really worry about distance, and we had so much energy. That would be just David and me from the siblings, and we'd try and catch a fish with a pin on the end of a bit of string. Never caught one, don't know why. One day we came across some bones there, and we're very intrigued. We were convinced we'd found the remains of a human body. So we gathered the bones together, knowing that there was always a police officer on duty at Thornton Heath Pond, always. Wherever we were, there were policemen very available in those days. So we took the bones to the police officer. He had a good look and they ummed and ahed. And he said, so you think these are human bones, do you? We said, yeah. He said, no, I think they just belong to a chicken. So we just went, ugh. But anyway, we felt good that we'd done a good deed for the day and carried on home. And where else did we go? There's the library not far away, and we did go there quite a few times during the year. And really, when David and my brother and sister relationship was cemented, I think that was the day that I started school. David was 2 years older, so had already started a couple of years before me. Mum took me to Winterbourne Infants on my first day in the morning, and that was the last time I saw her at the school, because David then had the responsibility of taking me home that first day, and every day thereafter he had to make sure I got there okay and got home again at the end of the day. Quite a responsibility for a 7-year-old. And up to the time he was 11 and went up to the seniors. He wasn't going to be perfect, of course, naturally. I would have to go to the junior gate to wait for him, because they came out 15 minutes after us. And he'd come out, and then he quite often zoomed off, but he didn't get completely out of sight. He was just teasing, and I'd shout after him, "Wait for me!" That was just the usual procedure. But if any boys were hanging around being a nuisance to me, he'd come back straight away and he'd tell them to clear off. So his priority was looking after me, keeping me safe. In fact, on one day, one of the boys, when I was waiting, jumped on the gate and it swung round and bashed me just at the side of the eye, and gave me quite a nasty injury. But David then stayed with me the whole time. He was really concerned and caring, and his kind and gentle side came to the fore, which was nice. Now, at that time, we did get a bit of pocket money, 1 shilling and 6pence. Don't know how long that lasted, or whether it went up, whether we had a rise each year. I would think so. But I remember when we had 1 and 6, every Saturday morning, we went up to Thornton Heath High Street, where there were a few shops, and the main one being Woolworths, and we bought generally 6 penny worth of sweets. And in Woolworths in those days, the counters all had separate sections with the sweets in, and they had to be scooped up and put on the weighing machine, and to get at the right amount, and then put into a bag, and the bag was swung round to make it secure, and we'd hand over our 6pence. And I remember we could buy nuts. They were in a separate section, all loose, in a section on the counter, and walnuts were a penny halfpenny each. So for your 6pence you could buy 4 walnuts. And then with another 6pence, we always went every Saturday morning, just David and me and a couple of the boys from Elliot Road. We walked up to the Granada Cinema at Thornton Heath Pond, and they had programmes just for children. So always cartoons, usually a Tarzan film, Abbott and Costello, that sort of thing. And it seems funny, but every end of the features had the national anthem. Everyone had to stand up for the national anthem. So at the end, everyone rushed out quick to avoid having to stand up. But if the music started before you left, you just had to stand rigid till it had finished. That was the effect of wartime, I assume. And talking of wartime, another place we played was not far away, a bomb site. And it was just known as the bomb site. Didn't think of it as a site where bombs were dropped. That was its name, the bomb site. It was like going to the gardens or going to the wreck. No, we're not going to the wreck today, we're going to the bomb site. It was just a name, and it was just a complete mess of rubble and glass, and we just balanced on the rubble and tried to catch each other, but it was an obstacle course. So a bit more outdoors was that along Elliot Road would come the coal man with Mickey the horse. So it was a horse and cart situation, and David and I had the task, an official task from Dad, to go out with bucket and spade to collect the dung, which was excellent compost apparently for Dad's plants. I don't remember an entrance to the garden at the back of the house at 9 Elliot Road, but we used to either slide down or climb down a ladder that was propped up against the kitchen window. We were right rapscallions, we really were.